Good morning. Our psalm of the day today is Psalm 77. I came across a song recently called When the Stars Go Blue. It was covered by several artists, but the chorus asks these questions. Where do you go when you're lonely? Where do you go when you're blue? Where do you go when you're lonely? I'll follow you when the stars go blue. In Psalm 77, it's as though the stars have gone blue for Asaph as he describes his distress. But look where he goes. I cried out to God for help. I cried out to God to hear me. When I was in distress, I sought the Lord. I think this song was written so that we could follow him in seeking the Lord and crying out for help. So let's do so. What's the cause of his distress? After describing his groaning and his spirit growing faint, he finally blurts out 6 questions which seem to be at the heart of the problem. Will the Lord reject forever? Will he never show his favour again? Has his unfailing love vanished forever? Has his promise failed for all time? Has God forgotten to be merciful? Has he in anger withheld his compassion? He seems to be facing a crisis of faith or assurance regarding the character of God, his faithfulness and love. He's certainly not the first or the last believer to face such a crisis. Circumstances can force us to question. What's happened to God's favour, his promises, his mercy? Those deep rumblings of the soul can keep our eyes from closing and make us too troubled to speak. But we can follow Asaph where he goes. We can cry out to God in our distress and ask him the questions we may fear to ask anyone else. And what's the cure for his distress? After blurting out his questions, he begins to think. Then I thought, to this I will appeal, the years when the Most High stretched out his right hand. I will remember the deeds of the Lord. Yes, I will remember your miracles of long ago. He then focuses on the greatest act of rescue in the Old Testament, the bringing of Israel out of Egypt and through the Red Sea. Your path led through the sea, your way through the mighty waters, though your footprints were not seen. And as he meditates on this, he seems to find reassurance of God's goodness and grace. And in our distress, we can follow Asaph, but we can meditate on an even greater redemption. But God demonstrates his own love for us in this. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. And it's possible to find reassurance that he who did not spare his own son, but gave him up for us all, how will he not also, along with him, graciously give us all things? Where do you go when you're lonely? Where do you go when you're blue? Where do we go when we're distressed and need comfort? Let's follow Asaph and cry out to the Lord, meditate on his redeeming grace, and find him again to be our good and faithful shepherd. Amen.